Major Marcus Sullivan frowned as he entered the weapons maintenance area. The newly transferred female soldier was there again. Every morning, before sunrise, she would come and spend hours with her rifle. Marcus approached her with a dismissive tone and asked, "Soldier, do you actually know how to use this weapon, or are you just polishing it?" Elena answered without looking up. "I know how, sir." Marcus laughed. "The Barrett .50 caliber weighs 33 pounds. Even experienced marksmen struggle with it. You look like you just got out of basic training." At that moment, a slight smile appeared on Elena's lips. Marcus didn't know it yet, but 48 hours later, that rookie soldier would save his life. From 2,400 meters away, Staff Sergeant Elena Rodriguez had been transferred to Forward Operating Base Chapman in Kandahar, Afghanistan 3 weeks ago. She was 28 years old, and her appearance didn't quite fit that of a military sergeant. At 5 feet 4 inches tall with a slender build, she was a quiet woman. Her uniform seemed slightly too large for her, and she didn't care much for talking. The other soldiers called her bookworm because she spent her free time reading. Commander Marcus and the other officers found Elena's transfer strange. Her file contained only basic information: not a West Point graduate, standard Army training, sniper school completed, a few routine base assignments, nothing special. But why had she been transferred to a unit with such experienced soldiers? Nobody understood. The truth was that much of Elena Rodriguez's file was stamped classified. Only officers with very high security clearance could read it, and those pages told a very different story. Elena had spent the past 2 years serving in a covert unit attached to Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC. Known as Task Force Ghost, this unit neutralized high-value targets in cross-border operations. Elena was the team's best marksman. She had 47 confirmed kills. Most of these targets were over 5,000 feet, 1,500 meters. Her longest shot was 9,340 feet, 2,847 meters, a distance that exceeded many international records. But Elena never talked about these achievements. That's how black ops were. You didn't exist. Now, Commander Marcus and the other soldiers saw her as just a quiet, inexperienced female soldier. The first week, Elena said nothing. She attended training, performed her duties, quietly did her job. But every morning, before the others woke up, she would come to the weapons maintenance area and work with her Barrett M 82.50 caliber sniper rifle. She would disassemble the rifle, meticulously clean each part, reassemble it, check the scope adjustments, and test the trigger sensitivity. This ritual was like meditation for her. Her hands knew every millimeter of the weapon. The second week, some soldiers began talking about Elena. "What's this woman doing here?" said First Lieutenant Jake Morrison to his friends in the mess hall. "This is Afghanistan. There's real combat here. This isn't a place for women to play around." "I heard she served as a designated marksman," said Second Lieutenant Ryan Cooper, "but I saw her shoot at the firing range a few times. Normal level, nothing special." "Maybe it's someone's nepotism," Jake added. "Otherwise, why would she come here?" These kinds of conversations reached Elena's ears, but she said nothing. She just smiled and continued her work. She had learned years ago there was no point in proving yourself to some people. The truth would come out sooner or later. At the end of the third week, something changed. The Tactical Operations Center, TOC, issued a red alert. In a valley in Helmand Province, a 12-man Special Forces A-team had been trapped in an area where they had been ambushed by Taliban militants. The team was conducting human intelligence gathering near a village, but the Taliban had drawn them into an ambush, and now they were under effective fire from all sides. It was 23:47 Zulu time. Alarm sounds echoed in the operations room. Commander Marcus was looking at the map, his face tense. "What's the team's sit rep?" he asked his radio operator. "Sir, ammo low. 3 WIA wounded in action. Enemy fire very heavy. They can't hold their positions." "Helo support?" "25 minutes out, but weather's bad. They might not be able to land at the LZ, landing zone." Marcus gritted his teeth. 25 minutes was too long. The team couldn't sustain that long. "Alternatives?" he asked. The intelligence officer approached. "Sir, enemy positioned on the northern ridge, concealed behind rock formations. Our infantry can't reach them. Only solution is long-range sniper support." Marcus examined the map. The nearest sniper position was 7,874 feet, 2,400 meters away. This distance was considered an impossible shot range in most military doctrine, especially at night, in adverse weather conditions. "Who can do this?" he asked the officers in the room. 7,800 plus feet, night ops, windy conditions. Even our best marksmen wouldn't think of attempting this. There was silence. No one answered. Then a voice rose from the corner of the room. "I can do it, sir." Everyone turned. It was Elena speaking. She stood calmly, her hands at her sides, her gaze determined. Marcus frowned when he saw her. "You?" "Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, this is a serious situation. This isn't the time for jokes." "I'm not joking, sir," Elena said in a calm voice. "I can make shot placement at this distance." "How do you know this?" Marcus asked. "There's nothing like that in your 201 file." "Parts of my file are classified, sir. Requires TS/SCI clearance. But I can tell you, in the past 2 years, I've made 47 long-range engagements. 32 of them were over 5,000 feet. My longest shot was 9,340 feet. Everyone in the room was shocked. These numbers were incredible. Some officers looked at each other, some smiled, some shook their heads skeptically. "That's impossible," said Lieutenant Jake. "The world record is around 11,000 feet. If you made such a shot, it would be in Pentagon records." "The records exist," Elena said, "but black operations are under TS/SCI classification, not for public release." Marcus looked at Elena. There was no doubt, no fear on the woman's face, just calm confidence. Marcus had been in the military for years and could tell when people were full of it. Elena wasn't full of it. "Comms!" Marcus shouted. "Open a secure line to JSOC. Request access to Staff Sergeant Rodriguez's classified 201, Priority 1. 5 minutes later, Marcus was called to a SCIF, Sensitive Compartmented Information Facility, and given an encrypted tablet. A file marked Top Secret SCI No Foreign opened. Marcus began reading. Each line was more astonishing than the last. Elena Rodriguez had indeed served in JSOC's most elite unit. After-action reports, target photos, ballistic analysis, verification documents, everything was there. And the 9,340-foot shot, completely legit, confirmed by 3 different spotters, verified with laser rangefinders. Marcus closed the tablet and returned to the talk. Elena was still standing in the same place, calm and ready. "Staff Sergeant Rodriguez," Marcus said in an official tone, "your clearance is verified. 12 of our brothers' lives are in your hands. Can you execute?" "Yes, sir." "Time window?" Elena calculated quickly. "Infilled to position 15 minutes. Set up 5 minutes. First shot in 20 minutes. Helo is 25 minutes out. This is your window. If you fail, those men die." "Won't fail, sir." Marcus nodded. "Move out. And Rodriguez, good hunting." Elena saluted and double-timed out. Elena spent 2 minutes gathering her gear. Barrett M 82.50 caliber, tripod, scope, laser rangefinder, ballistic calculator, anemometer, 10 rounds of M33 ball ammunition, NVGs, night vision goggles. Total weight approximately 55 pounds. An MRAP took her to a grid near the position. From there, she needed to make a 4,000-foot elevation gain. It was dark, wind gusting, terrain rocky. But Elena didn't hesitate. She began moving at double time with her ruck. Traffic from the trap team came over her radio. "Base, ammo critical, enemy fire intensifying." "Sir, Captain Hayes is hit. Need CASVAC now." "Don't know how long we can hold." Elena controlled her breathing as she moved. Her heart rate was spiking, but she could regulate it. She cleared her mind. Focused only on the mission, 12 minutes later, she reached the OP, observation post. It was a rocky outcrop on the northern ridge. From here, there was a clear LOS, line of sight, to the enemy line. Elena immediately set the tripod, mounted the Barrett, and attached the scope. She swept the target area with the laser rangefinder, 7,828 feet, close to her estimate. She checked wind drift with the anemometer, 11 miles per hour from the northwest, variable but predictable. Temp, 46 degrees Fahrenheit, humidity, 65%, barometric pressure, 28.94 inches of mercury. She input all the data into the ballistic computer. The device gave her the required adjustments: scope elevation, 47.3 MOA. Windage correction, 3.2 MOA right. Elena dialed the scope. Now it was time for proof. She looked through the scope. In the darkness, she could see the rock formations 7,828 feet away. Based on thermal signatures, she detected enemy positions. There was movement at 4 different grids. These were enemy fighting positions. The trap team was to the south, in a depression. She couldn't see them, but she knew their location from the radio beacon. "Base, on station," she said over the radio. "Targets acquired." Marcus's voice came from the talks. "Copy, Staff Sergeant, team critical. Execute ASAP." "Roger, sir." Elena took a deep breath. Now came the hardest part. Taking a shot at a target from 7,828 feet wasn't just about good aim. Physics, mathematics, psychology, experience, everything had to converge. The bullet's travel time would be approximately 3.8 seconds. During those 3.8 seconds, the round would drop 590 feet due to gravity, drift 8 feet right due to wind, lose velocity due to aerodynamic drag, deflect minutely due to Coriolis effect. She had to account for all of this, but calculations were just the beginning. Real mastery came from experience. Elena had made these kinds of engagements 47 times. Her body knew what to do. She selected the first target, the most active firing position on the northern ridge. An insurgent was firing with a PKM machine gun. Tracer rounds left glowing trails in the darkness. Elena aligned the crosshairs exactly on the target, but her actual aim point was 50 feet above the target and 8 feet to the right. Ballistic compensations applied. She held her breath, slowed her heart rate, finger on the trigger. She waited for the perfect moment. Wind shift, target movement, the sweet spot. Now, boom. The Barrett's report echoed through the mountains. Recoil slammed Elena's shoulder, but she was braced for it. She tracked the target through the scope. She waited 3.8 seconds. Then she observed. Fire at the target location ceased. The machine gun went silent. First target neutralized. "First target down," she said calmly over the radio. Cheering erupted in the TOEIC, but Elena remained emotionless. The job wasn't complete yet. She searched for the second target. Another firing position on the east ridge, range 7,905 feet. Slightly more distant, wind slightly stronger. She updated her adjustments, acquired aim, waited, trigger squeeze, boom. 3.9 seconds later, the second target was silenced. Excited voices from the trap team. "What's happening? Enemy fire decreasing." "Someone's hitting them. We got angels out there." Elena transitioned to the third target. This one was harder. The target was concealed behind a rock formation. Only the head and partial shoulder were visible, and it was moving. Elena ran calculations. The target was popping in and out every 4 to 5 seconds. She had a 5-second exposure window, and within those 5 seconds she had to calculate the 3.8-second bullet flight time. This required prediction, anticipating when and where the target would move. Elena analyzed the target's behavior pattern from the previous 2 shots. The target was moving to the right. On the next exposure, it would likely go in the same vector. She adjusted her aim point to where the target would be, waited. The target exposed, moved, exactly the predicted vector. Trigger, boom. 4.1 seconds later, target down. 3 targets neutralized, Elena said. Marcus couldn't believe it in the talk. "This is impossible. This woman's a ghost." But there was one more target, the hardest one. It was in an elevated position on top of the central rock. Range, 8,100 feet. Wind more erratic. And the target was now being cautious. Elena observed it through the scope. The target was constantly moving, concealing. No steady shot opportunity. Minutes passed. Elena waited patiently. Sniping often came down to these moments, a waiting game. Who was more patient? Who was more disciplined? Then, a moment came. The target exposed itself from between the rocks to observe the elimination of its comrades. Just 2 seconds. But that was sufficient for Elena. Aim, breath, trigger. Boom! The final shot was the most perfect. The round precisely impacted the target. 4 targets neutralized, Elena said. Enemy line broken. Captain Hayes' voice from the trapped team. Base, enemy withdrawing. Repeat, enemy RTB. Who did this? Marcus grabbed the radio, grinning. Staff Sergeant Elena Rodriguez, 7,800 plus feet out. A long silence. Then Hayes' stunned voice. 7,800 feet? That's impossible. Who is she? Someone we learned about today, Marcus said. When Elena returned to the fob, the sky was still dark. But the TOC was illuminated. The rescued team had been medevaced by Hilo. There were 3 WIA, but all were alive. Elena stowed her equipment and cleaned her weapon. Then she went to the TOC for debrief. When she entered through the door, the entire room stood. Commander Marcus, other officers, enlisted personnel. Everyone was applauding. Elena was surprised. She hadn't expected this kind of reception. Marcus approached with his hand extended. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, tonight you saved 12 lives. What you accomplished is beyond words. Just doing my job, sir, Elena said humbly. No, Marcus said. You accomplished far more than your job. You taught all of us a lesson. He addressed the entire room. Today we witnessed how wrong judging by appearance can be. We called Staff Sergeant Rodriguez inexperienced. We underestimated her. But she was the most capable operator among us. The soldiers in the room lowered their heads, a mixture of shame and respect. Lieutenant Jake stepped forward. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, I wronged you. I apologize. It's an honor serving with an operator like you. Other soldiers expressed similar sentiments. Everyone apologized. Everyone showed respect. Elena smiled. All forgiven. It didn't matter anyway. The important thing is our team is safe. That night, a small celebration was held at the FOB dining facility. The rescued team thanked Elena. Captain Hayes was emotional. I never knew you, but you saved my life. I don't know how to thank you. No thanks needed, Elena said. We wear the same uniform. We serve the same flag. That's sufficient. The next morning, Elena was at the weapons maintenance area at dawn again. She was cleaning her Barrett, carefully inspecting each component. This time, when Marcus approached, there was admiration instead of dismissal on his face. You do this every morning, Marcus said. Why? Because this weapon isn't just a tool, Elena said. It's my extension, my life-saving instrument. I must respect it. Marcus nodded. Now I understand. You're not just a good marksman. You're an artist, and the weapon is your brush. Elena smiled. Maybe, sir, but I don't paint pictures. I paint futures. Marcus observed silently for a while. Then he asked, Why didn't you tell us the truth? Why did you stand quietly for 3 weeks? Elena set down the weapon component. Because, sir, real capability is proven by demonstration, not declaration. When someone says, I'm good, you doubt. When someone shows you, you never forget. I showed. And now everyone knows. Marcus grinned. You're right, and we won't forget. Weeks passed. Elena now received full respect in the unit, but she remained the same humble operator, every morning maintaining her weapon, attending training, performing her duties. One day, a delegation came from the Pentagon. High-ranking officers met with Elena. They offered a new assignment, a special program for sniper instructors at Fort Benning, training the best soldiers. We want you to share your experience, the Major General said. Talent like yours shouldn't just stay in the field. You should train hundreds of soldiers. Elena considered. Then she asked, If I transfer to Fort Benning, who will protect my brothers and sisters here? The Major General smiled. The soldiers you train will. Elena nodded. Then I accept, but with one condition, which is, every year I want 1 month of field deployment. Training is important, but real experience mustn't be forgotten. Agreed. Done. Years later, Elena Rodriguez became a legend. Hundreds of snipers she trained served in every branch of the U.S. military. All learned the same principles: discipline, patience, humility, excellence. And on the first day of each one's training, Elena would tell them a story. The story of the 7,800-foot shot, the story of how an underestimated soldier saved 12 lives. Never judge anyone by appearance, she would say. Never underestimate. Because you don't know. Maybe that person will be the one to save you. Maybe that person will make history. Maybe that person is just waiting for an opportunity. And at the end of every story, she would add, remember, real strength is proven by showing, not by shouting.